Janus sat down on the bed, but Callie scooted away. Do you want to talk about it? Janus asked. Everything sucks, Callie said, pulling the sheets back over herself. Janus nodded. I agree. He sat there quietly, giving her space to talk if she wanted to. Ignore him if she wanted to. After a minute, when he was about to get up and go to the living room, she popped her head out of the sheets. Everyone at school knows. There was this group of girls I thought were my friends, but they pretended I wasn't even there, and the teachers were nice about it, but I could tell they pity me. It's not even worth it for them to keep teaching me if I'm not going to be able to finish the program. Did you get bullied? Janus asked. No one laid a hand on me, if that's what you mean. Bullying would have been easier. I could have fought back. She was a lot more like Uncle Ivan than Janus would have liked, although the way her brain worked reminded him of his parents. He wasn't sure what he could do to help. Callie let out a sigh. Aren't you supposed to say something about how everything is going to be okay? Everything is going to be okay, Janus deadpanned. Like you mean it, Janus. Everything is going to be okay. Like I mean it, Janus, he said, and she rolled her eyes. You're a real comfort, you know that? Like a cold drink when the cooling system is broken, or like one of those old, beat-up massage chairs in the transit stations. I do make everything better, that's for sure. You know I was being sarcastic, right? I couldn't tell, Janus said, and Callie grinned. I went to see Uncle Ivan. How is he? Alive. A little bruised up. He says it was one of the other prisoners, not the guards. Did the guards do anything about it? They put him in solitary, Janus said. Uncle even acted like they were doing him a favor. I don't understand how he can be so calm about any of this. It's like he doesn't get how much trouble we're in. Callie looked at him for a moment, then said, When I was a kid, I used to think Uncle Ivan was a crime boss or a secret millionaire. You're still a kid, bug. I'm serious, Callie said. Every time we ran into money trouble. Real money trouble, not just having to skip a meal or something. Uncle Ivan would come up with the credits. It was like a magic trick. Or maybe like he was pretending we were poor so we'd toughen up. You make him sound like a wayfinder. You know, I spoke to one today. A wayfinder? Kind of. He called himself an architect and said a bunch of stuff. Did you tell Uncle Ivan? I did not, Janus said. Uncle Ivan and I didn't have polite conversation. But you're right. I think the world might be full of things we don't know. And maybe things will work out. If they don't, you and me are going to make them work out. Because we're Prometheans? Because we have to. Being Promethean just means we're going to win, he said, giving her a wink. Hey, bug, yeah. You studied dome policy and stuff, right? Not all of it, Callie said. Just the charter and some of the maintenance policies. That's actually what my big project is about. Really? Really? Janus said, surprised. I thought they were teaching you how to participate in board meetings, not grease monkey work. What do you think they talk about in the board meetings? Poetry? Triliths husbandry? Janus shrugged. I guess I didn't think about it. But say there was a policy about poetry or trilith husbandry, and I wanted to get that changed. What would I do? He was trying to be casual about it. But this was one area in which Callie's knowledge was so much greater than his. He was the kid, and she was the adult. There's not much you can do, honestly, she said. You'd have to gather a lot of people or a lot of data to get Dome admin to listen. You don't have access to data, and you aren't great with people. Now, come on. I'm not trying to be mean, Callie said. You work hard. You see things in black and white. You basically have one friend, and Ryler's way out of your league. Janus whistled. Callie was really unloading on him. She wasn't wrong, but it was still rough to hear it laid out that way. What you could do is take the first step, Callie said, her face pensive. She looked a lot like their dad in that moment. You could show Dome admin the better way you're talking about. Create new data, and then take it to someone like me or Ryler, and then they could push for a change. Janus nodded. It wasn't as glamorous as marching on the hub, with thousands of citizens at his back. But it appealed to him, the idea of just fixing the problem in front of him, and having smart, well-connected friends who could do the schmoozing and politics. So, what is this big change you want to push for? Callie asked. It's confidential, Janus told her with a wink. Come on. Let's eat. I'll make your favorite leftover slop. You're gross, Callie responded, but she crawled out of bed. And you suck at cheering people up. Cheering people up. I'll admit it's my weakness, Janus answered. Only my little sister is great at everything. Gary shift. The next morning was uneventful. He went to the locker room and got changed. Like he had the day before during sorting, he noticed the divisions between the different outsiders and the few primers on the crew. In a way, he'd always known it. That kind stuck to kind. But he hadn't thought of it as a system like the organic recyclers or the heat exchangers. He made a point of introducing himself to the new beta station workers, although they were wary of him. No offense, but it seems like you're the only one with fewer friends than we have. Janus shrugged. It's nothing but standard hard suits outside. Help is help, no matter where it comes from. The beta stationer nodded thoughtfully, then shook his hand. Meg gave them all the nod to move out, including Janus, so he followed the others and got to work. He made quick fixes on non-critical systems, although he still made more thorough repairs on 3 machines that had clearly been hotfixed too many times. He flagged 2 more as down for more in-depth maintenance, but he didn't do the work himself. After 4 hours, he was 17% ahead of quota, and Meg sent him a private transmission. If you keep this up, they'll make me work for you. You trying to make me look bad, Janus? Janus could tell she was joking, and that she was pleased with his performance, but the truth was, it grated on him. He'd done the work he was told to, but it wasn't good work. The only thing that had kept him going were Nicandros's words. That what had been the right answer in the past wasn't the right answer now, but it could be again. He just needed to keep his head down and work through the distractions. The airlock jammed again, and Janus cleared it again. There were some lines he wasn't willing to cross. He made sure to add a comment to the ticket he'd already filed, and was surprised when Sector Maintenance Dispatch pinged his comm. Invarian? Yes? Do us a favor. Next time you want to comment on what we do, fix it yourself. I'm sorry, but have we met? Janus asked, not recognizing the name displayed by his retinal implant. We've all heard about your little chat with the chief over at Dome Sec. Guess what? Onion, your complaining didn't create more qualified maintainers or make Dome admins' requests for more living space disappear. Use the override like everyone else. Outsider. The caller hung up on him. You did the right thing, Janus told himself, even if it meant that strangers in sector maintenance were learning his name for the wrong reasons. He got home and found Callie with her goggles on in the living room. She must have heard him, because as he walked in, she said, "So help me, Janus, if you tickle me, you'll kick me in the nuts." Hard, his sister confirmed. She took the goggles off and put them away. I already ate. Let's head to the sector gate so you're not late for work. You sure? I could tell your teachers you're skipping school until you start the new classes. Callie shook her head. You didn't skip work, and I'm not skipping school. I'm going to finish my project before I go, no matter what the other kids say. Janus looked at his little sister. She looked solid, determined, like she'd aged several years while he slept. I'm proud of you, Bug. Yeah, she said, although he could tell she was pleased. That's what Prometheans do, right? You're a light in the dark for sure, Callie. He dropped her off and made it to the recycling plant a few minutes early. The head manual sorter pulled him aside. Listen, Invarian, we all know you think you're too good for this work. Plant manager came down personally to say you're off limits, and that's no business of mine. But we don't need any bright ideas down here. My people work. We get paid by weight. You understand me? Buckets filled pay the bills. So fill the buckets until your friend Barry pulls you back topside. I'm not asking for special treatment, Janus said, stuck between grateful and annoyed that Barry had stepped in for him. The head sorter scoffed. Whatever. Me and the boys got work to do. Janus went to it with a will. In a way, the head sorter was right. This wasn't a skilled job. The skilled job was done by machines. A few days ago, Janus had been the one making those machines send less scrap down to be resorted, but those days were gone. And right now, there were only the piles of unsorted materials and the buckets that hold them back topside. Whenever he saw another sorter struggling with a heavier piece, Janus immediately went to help. The head sorter smirked at him the first time, but as the shift wore on, a grudging kind of acceptance settled in between Janus and the rest of the crew. Keeping that pace up was physically demanding, but no more so than fixing pumps in a hard suit. You hear what happened to Beta Station? One of the workers asked. They wrecked their dome. What more do we need to know about the bastards? The head sorter said. Well, I heard it was nanotech, another said. Full-on gray goo. Incident. Can't even go in and salvage the place. Hey, Invarian? Isn't Beta Station the reason you're down here? Heard you got bumped. Janus shook his head. Dome admin made the assignment. It's not my replacement's fault. They're more qualified than I am. You really believe that? The head sorter asked. Janus shrugged. I believe it's not their fault, at least. Some people laughed at that, and others seemed to quietly resent him. He couldn't win everybody over. The two beta stationers on the crew, at least, looked grateful. One of them even spoke. We were attacked by triliths on the way here. They were as big as buggies. Janus frowned.